very good morning to you. Welcome. Well, it's raining again. Here in South Somerset, there's been an enormous amount of rain since Christmas, or even just before Christmas, I think. It's just been raining and raining and raining. And as in many a year, certain roads in this area are flooded and impassable, or impassable if you're sensible, or impassable unless you've got one of these very highly sprung, enormous cars that can ride above the water. And the Bible has quite a lot to say about flooding and water and things. There are friends of mine, who are on the levels, and they have to drive a long way around to get anywhere because the roads are flooded. And it always makes me think of the wonderful picture the Lord gave of the two men who built houses. It's at the end of Matthew chapter 7. It's the most important thing to realize about this story is it's spoken after a lot of teaching. Jesus had taught all these different things, told them all sorts of things about things they should do and things they shouldn't do, things to be aware of, things to know. He taught them a lot of things. And at the end of it, he said, everyone then who hears these words of mine. All right, I want to go back a bit. I'm sorry, a few verses back to verse 21 of chapter 7. It says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And he goes on to say, people will say, Lord, I cast out demons in your name, I healed people in your name. And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. So what is the secret of being acknowledged by Jesus? He goes straight on to say, everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them. So these people who were casting out demons in his name and prophesying in his name and healing people in his name were not obedient people. They were not doing what Jesus had asked them to do. And they were not acknowledged by him. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house upon the rock. And the rain came, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And then everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them is like a foolish man who built his house upon the sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon the house. And it fell, and great was the fall of it. Now the circumstances did not change. The rain, the wind, the floods, all beat on both houses. One stood and the other didn't. And that's what it will be like. Those who have... But it's not about earning salvation. This is about people who were following Jesus, people who were going around with him, people who were responding to his message, people who were sitting listening to him. And it reminds me so much of James. In the book of James it says, be doers of the word and not hearers only. This is the key to having a house, having a life. The house is a picture of your life and my life. And what Jesus is saying, there will be rain, there will be storms, there will be wind, there will be floods. You're not going to be immune in this life from all the ups and downs of life. You're not. That's not what you're promised. But what you are promised is that if you build your life on the words and the ways of Jesus, then when the storm comes, your house, your life will stand. Be doers of the word and not hearers only. Doers in response to what God has done for you, not to earn salvation, but to make sure that as you live your life through this life, the troubles of this life will not destroy you. Jesus came so we could have life and have it abundantly, but it doesn't come without us renewing our minds and applying ourselves to following Jesus. That's what he said to everyone who he called. He said to them, follow me, follow me. And they left everything and followed him. They left the things that they'd thought would always be their way of life. They left those things and they followed him. They followed him through thick and thin. They followed him up and down the country. They followed him onto the lake through a storm where he saved them in that. And they climbed mountains with him and they travelled with him. They listened to him. They watched him. And everything in their life was changed forever. And over those 3.5 years, their minds were renewed and they were taught all sorts of things. And then finally, after Jesus had gone, they were filled with the Spirit and then able to continue the work they'd started. But meeting Jesus changed everything. And they didn't change in order to be saved. They changed because they wanted to be with Jesus. And that's the key thing. Jesus has called you. Jesus has called me. And he's promised never to leave us or forsake us. And the closer we walk to him, the more secure our house is going to be. And walking close to him is listening to him, responding to him, and doing what he asks us to do. It's a wonderful walk, but it's not a safe walk. It's safe in the sense that everything about us will be saved, we will be rescued, we will be in eternity. But this life may not be easy because winds and rain and floods and storms are not easy to live through. But if we build our house on a rock, we build our life on the teachings of Jesus, and we put them first in our life, we put the kingdom of God first, God will add everything to us that we need. He's promised never to leave us and never to forsake us. In Isaiah had a picture of this when he said, when you go through the waters, I will be with you. He's not going to let you down, however difficult the storm may be, and however high the flood waters may rise. He is not going to let you down. Your house will stand if it's built on the rock. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.